Hello, I'm Chrissy Seaton. I'm going to begin producing 2 videos each week now. Up until today I've been doing one a week, so from now on I will try my very best to have 2 videos a week, and one will continue to be on Wednesday and the second one hopefully on Saturday or Sunday. Today, in this video, I'm going to speak about when silence makes you complicit. This can be a difficult issue to deal with, and there is a very fine line between silence and your condoning some sort of behaviour or action. One of the important parts, or one of the most important parts about being a Noahide in today's society is that we try very hard to make it a better world. Now, we may not be able to solve the global problems at the moment, but it really starts, first of all, within each of our families, within our smaller community, be that school or neighbourhood, etc. And then, of course, for many of us, it would spill over also into your work environment, your workspace. So it is very important that we do our best to make wherever we are, wherever our presence is, we try to make it a better place. So I'm just going to give a few examples here that we can all relate to, I'm sure. For example, in our family and home, that is where children learn behaviours. That is where an example has to be set. And for instance, you have house rules. It would be that you hang the towels up on the rack at the end of your shower, that you make your bed of a morning, that you put dirty laundry into a laundry basket and not just dump it on the floor. You have rules about table manners when you begin your meal, when you sit at the table. And these are rules that everybody complies with out of respect for each other, for respect for who's doing the housework, for respect for who's preparing the meal, etc. So we can identify with that in terms of the behaviour, and especially teaching young children. Then when we get into our community, and I'll use the example of school here, when your child attends school, then you need to be involved with what goes on in that school. Now, I realise some parents both work and it's not possible to be there all the time, of course, but you do need to have a presence there in some way. You need to have a voice there. You need to be seen. You need to not be viewed as an absent parent. So therefore, when something comes up regarding changes within the school or the curriculum or what's being taught at the school, and we shan't go into that today, some of what's being taught in schools now is ridiculous, but you're the voice of your child and your child's future. And the other thing that's very important when it comes to children going to school is this is where they learn an ethics of consistency, an ethic which will carry them over into the workplace, an ethic of reliability, an ethic of attendance, of being there. So if you continually allow your child to have days off school for things that really aren't all that significant, and I'm not talking about being unwell or things like that, but there are some parents who will allow their child, oh, they're only doing this today, and I can't be bothered the argument, and by doing that, we're allowing our child to develop a behaviour of, if I don't want to turn up, I don't have to. If I think of a good enough excuse, I won't have to go, and I don't have to go to school every day. And that's a bad thing. You have to take a stand, and you have to teach that child that they have to turn up. Because otherwise, when they get in the workforce, these are the people that take a sickie every other day. So your responsibility starts with your child in teaching them behaviour, respect, manners, ethics, reliability and such like. Then when we get into the workplace, then that becomes another thing. This is where we're talking further about ethics and principles. And these are your work ethic, turning up on time, turning up, for our rostered days or shifts or whatever. And also the principles. You have to have principles within yourself. So I'll give some examples here. You have a responsibility to your employer. You have a responsibility to the people you work with. You have to be conscious of the fact that they're paying you to do a job, and therefore you have to do that to the best of your abilities. So if you see someone in your place of work who is not exercising the correct principles or ethics associated with the workplace, and there would be workplace rules and regulations, there is in every workplace, then for you to ignore that and turn a blind eye, that makes you complicit. That means you're condoning it. So you do have to stand up about those things. If they're thieving things from the workplace, or they're taking extra, an hour for lunch instead of 30 minutes, etc., then you have a choice. You can turn a blind eye and remain complicit because that person in one way or another is thieving or taking advantage of the employer, or you can confront that person and say, look, we need to have a chat, or you have to approach your employer and say, I've noticed a culture developing of, they're knocking off early, they're getting others to fill in their timesheet, they're not doing this right. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean you have to mention the name of the person, but by ignoring it, you are condoning that behaviour, and that is not right for your employer. They need to be made aware of what is going on. So thereby your silence, if you choose to be silent, is you're complicit to that behaviour, which is the same as you doing it yourself. It's not easy, I understand that, and I've had 50 years in the workforce, and I understand that these aren't things that you can handle with ease at times, but you really have to have a good talk to yourself and say, am I prepared to let this continue? Can I look myself in the mirror every day and be satisfied that there's nothing else I need to do? So this is why, and of course, a Noahide also has a responsibility to be the voice of reason, the voice of common sense. You have to correct a wrong. You need to show guidance and most importantly, lead by example. So if you're going to lead by your example, which is, I'm sure, very good, then you have a right to expect others, particularly in the workforce, for instance, and in the school system, to do the same. So I just want you to give thought to what I've said. It takes a little bit of digesting, I understand that. But just remember, when does your silence make you complicit? Just remember to subscribe to my channel, click the like button, press the bell to be notified when there's a new video. And there will be 2 now happening each week, God willing. Please take care of yourself and God bless.